Chad Moyer with you, and it's another update from JanFest, the virtual online farm show at kticradio.com. And Nebraska Public Power District is exhibiting at the virtual online farm show this year. And we're going to talk with some of the folks from NPPD in just a moment. But first, we're going to start by visiting with Willie Anderson. He is a foreman with Cumming County Public Power District, of course, a partner with NPPD. Willie, let's talk a little bit about the importance of farm safety. You know, as farmers are looking at their land for potential hazards, talk a little bit about some of the things that they need to keep an eye on out on the farm related to safety around electrical lines.
Yeah, Chad, I guess the biggest thing is, around where farmers are today, equipment's gotten a lot bigger. And, we got power lines, we got underground power lines. So our biggest thing that we kind of want to get it to them is just stop back, take a look, what's out there. There's down guys, there's, the poles, the wire. When they buy a new piece of ground or an existing piece they've had, where they go into the fields, their field entrances, equipment's gotten a lot taller. And maybe the line's a little lower in that spot, especially if they add a new one. It closes up that clearance a little bit. So, we want to pay attention. If they do have that problem, looks like they're going to make it, get a hold of us. We can come out, raise the lines a little higher for them so they just get in there safer.
Isn't that a key? We think about the different types of lines out there, but you really got to watch those local distribution grids, don't you?
Definitely. They're everywhere. Every field pretty much has one somewhere close to it normally, so our biggest thing is, like the clearances, when they're going to get in them fields, everything's gotten bigger. Equipment's gotten so big anymore, with auto steer. They're watching the equipment, might not be seeing exactly where they're going, so just so they don't get into that predicament and hit something. If they know what's there, at least they're aware of it.
Well, and even with different pieces of equipment, you might have a 80-foot breadth on this one piece of equipment, but you get in another one and it could be 120 feet, and you just got to remember to reorientate yourself all the time, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right, very good. Well, hold on, Willie. We're going to come back and talk to you here in just a moment, but we're going to bring in somebody else from Nebraska Public Power District. He is Scott Walls, and he is the Transmission, Distribution, Construction, and Maintenance Manager for NPPD. Scott, thanks for joining us here today as well. And again, just talking about this idea of safety around electrical lines, NPPD actually has an effort to help get the word out about this. Tell us about that.
Right. We saw an uptick last fall of boom sprayers getting in contact with power lines. We noticed that things were progressing in a trend that we didn't think we liked, because people, have a potential to get seriously hurt. So we're trying to get a message out to, when you pull in your field, stop, look up, look around before you unrack any equipment. We're moving into planting season, and the planters are larger. When you unrack those 16-row planters, make sure you know what's above you and around you. So we're asking people, get out of your machine, get out onto the ground, look around, look up, and take notice of everything around you. Just because you were there last fall doesn't mean things didn't change. So take a look, and visualize where you're at. And then if you are underneath the power line, make sure you pull in to the field, unrack your equipment, and then come back. So that's really the message we're trying to get out to folks.
It's got one of those things you talk about, that initial getting into the field. Okay, so I come into the driveway and I'm clear from power lines. You might think to yourself, I'm good. I'm good to go. But these fields are awful long sometimes too, and there could be a potential contact area way downfield, right?
Yeah. See, our transmission system in the state, typically runs across fields and not down roads. So you could have a transmission line that goes diagonal across your property. So, make sure that you're aware of that. One thing, we're coming into spring, Chad, and I just like to add that one of the things we see this time of year is when folks get in the field to disc or to anhydrous pneumonia, they do that too close to the poles, and they typically hit one. And we've had them come down before and drop the wires on top of their equipment. So, that's just another thing to pay attention to. So, knowing where that power line is the first step to your safety.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. We're going to go ahead and bring Willie back again. Willie, let's talk about, just if there is a contact situation, like what Scott was saying, if we make contact with a power line, the lines themselves or the guy wire or things like that, what should we do? What's kind of the protocol after that?
We have had plenty of them. I know Scott too. They've seen it too. If it does happen, you accidentally hit something or a wire comes down, stay in the vehicle. We can't stress that enough. Wait until we get on site to get you out. The only time we ever say to get out is if something starts on fire. If the vehicle's on fire, you have to get out. And that's the whole thing too. If it does happen, look where you're going, jump out as far as you can, get away from that vehicle. But just stay there. I know it takes a little bit. Fire departments, we deal with them a lot too, and we talk to them about it, so they kind of know the protocol we do. So, but yes, the only thing I can't stress enough is to stay in that vehicle until we get there to get the scene safe for you.
And Scott, you and I have talked before too about, what happens if power lines make contact with equipment, because, today's equipment is quite sophisticated and pretty sensitive, isn't it?
Right. You've got all the GPS equipment that'll burn up, all that electronic equipment is going to burn up. And the other thing I'd like to say, Chad, is you don't necessarily have to make contact with a wire. If you get close enough, that will arc, especially in the high voltage lines that we have. So, staying away is the key there. And to tag on to what Willie said, if you don't know the number to your power supplier, which you may not, just call 911. Get the authorities out there. They'll get in contact with whoever that power supplier would be, and they can get you help. So just 911 is your friend, and just stay in that vehicle and make the call. Right. And the other thing is, don't worry about your pride. Okay, you worry about your safety. That's key.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Very good words. Willie, just as we kind of wrap up here, final thoughts. It's going to get busy again. We're going to want to go when the conditions are right. Just again, a few thoughts on safety around electrical lines.
It only takes a second just to look around. It doesn't take that much time. I know everybody gets busy and farmers push it really hard in that springtime frame, especially, so just all I can do is just stress, look around your surroundings. I mean, it doesn't take long, and it can save a lot. Like you say, save you a lot of money in somebody's life.
Yep. And really Scott, any final thoughts as we wrap up?
I just say, the power utilities in the state of Nebraska are here to help the farmers. We all work together. So it's important that if you have questions, give us a call. We'd sure come out. We'll talk to you. We'll give talks to anybody who needs them. If they've got a farming group that they want to, get together, just give us a call. We'll come out. We'll talk about all this. And, the goal is to raise a good crop and to keep everybody safe. So that's what we're here for.
All right. Very well said, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us here today on our JanFest segment. Again, we've been visiting with Willie Anderson. He's a foreman with the Cumming County Public Power District. And of course, Scott Walls as well, manager at NPPD. And again, just reminding you about the importance of safety around electrical lines during the busy growing season. Keep that in mind. And of course, click around their booth here at the JanFest website, and you can find more information there as well. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us here on this JanFest update here on KTIC. Chad Moyer reporting.